Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Let's get into this review for Gran Turismo 7. This is a difficult one for me to review because Gran Turismo is a series that I have loved for a very long time. My entry point was GT4 on the PS2 and I must have put hundreds of hours into that game. GT5 was the first game I bought on PS3 and GT6 was one of the last games I bought on the PS3. I have also played the PSP version and Gran Turismo Sport as well, which aren't as good as the mainline entries, but I still had a blast with them anyway. When they announced that Gran Turismo 7 was going to be released for the PS5 and it had a similar kind of style to the other mainline games, this quickly became one of my most anticipated for the year, and I thought it would be a personal Game of the Year contender. Unfortunately, that really wasn't the case. This game gets some things right, but it fumbles on key elements that it already nailed back when I played Gran Turismo 4 on my PS2. On a technical note, this game is absolutely stunning and is one of those that can definitely flex the PS5. I still think games like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart and Horizon Forbidden West look better, but this still looks great. There are two modes for the graphics in this game, the first of which is the frame rate mode, which targets 4K at 60 frames per second, and the ray tracing mode, which adds ray tracing during replays and cutscenes, but not during the races whilst playing at 30 FPS. They both look and run great. I didn't have any bugs that I can think of except some minor pop-in if you're at quite a distance away from other cars. Gran Turismo has usually really pushed the boundaries on graphics in games, and a lot of them felt a generation ahead of where they actually were. Gran Turismo 7 looks great as a PS5 game, and when you get into the photo mode and in the garage where you look closely at the details of each car, that's when this feels very, very good. The interiors of the cars are some of the best I've seen in any racing game in my opinion. Sure, the exterior also looks great and shiny, and when you're racing at night you see a lot of reflections and it looks excellent, but the interiors almost look like their real life counterparts. Polyphony have done a great job of putting in minute details that make it look like you just opened the door to one of these cars at a dealership and looked inside.
Pretty cool.
This game also has DualSense features, which I love to see in any game. You feel the resistance when you're braking, and different tracks cause different variations of rumble that further immerses you in the experience. Gran Turismo is the only racing game series I've really ever gotten into because I felt the game balanced simulation and arcade racing really well. Gran Turismo 7 takes that a step further with a very advanced system where you can make the experience more of a simulated racer or more of an arcade racer. I just stayed with a lot of the basic settings. You can also have things to assist you with the experience, such as an indicator of when to brake, the recommended track line, and you can go as far as auto braking around corners. The cars are also very different in their feeling, and it changes the way you have to adjust when turning corners, when to accelerate, or how quickly the gears shift. There are different categories for the cars to assist you in, giving you a rough idea of how these cars work. Things like tires and engine upgrades can change the cars as well and give you a boost if you're stuck on a particular race. While there aren't as many tracks as I would like, they are all nice. A lot of the mainstays like the Nürburgring, High Speed Ring, and Tsukuba are all there with a couple of new ones. They all vary in gameplay, some focus on being more speedy, while others depend on cornering and overtaking to be successful. They all look excellent, but I think my favorite to look at is the Tokyo one, especially at night because you see all the buildings and the lighting from the billboards is just excellent. Gran Turismo 7 harkens back to Gran Turismo 4 by having a little map design where you can go to the different modes that Gran Turismo 7 offers. I always loved this in Gran Turismo 4 and I was quite disappointed that they never really returned back to that element. I once again loved it. It's easy to navigate and you know where everything is. The different modes on offer are the Cafe, which is the main story path which guides you through many of the different modes and different cars on offer. It's fine, but I would have preferred if this was side content and the main content was more working through the many different competitions and races that lead to the Gran Turismo World Championship. There are also licenses, which I always love to explore in these games. They definitely have less tests than the other games, but I still enjoy progressing through them. The largest variety is seen in the missions, which have a lot of different types of activities, such as the low petrol challenge, running over cones, drag racing, and endurance races that last an hour. I wish there was a little more of this that give you bigger payouts, but what is there right now is fine. There are also 3 dealerships like Brand Central, which is one of the main ones where you can look at a variety of brands from different countries. This is one of the most disappointing things about the game, as a lot of the previous entries had around 1,000 cars. This iteration only has just over 400, which is such a massive decrease, and you feel it as you look through the different cars. Cars that have become very popular, like Tesla and other electric vehicles, don't really get a lot of attention in this game. And I thought the fact that the Australian cars not being added into this game was very disappointing as well, as there are a whole range of new and old cars that would have been a worthy addition to this game. There is also the Legends dealership and the second hand car dealership, which are both fine additions, but not enough has been added to make this a compelling enough element to this game.
Cars, where are the cars?
Now, while the dealership and the lack of cars is quite disappointing, there are some things I just absolutely hate about this game, and I hope these things really get fixed later. These things are definitely deal breakers for a lot of people, and as a massive fan of the series, I was able to push through it, but these things are definitely bad.
So this is not going to work. This is garbage.
The first of which is the fact that this game is always online. I understand that Gran Turismo Sport was an online-only game, but the mainline ones have never explored that avenue, and that made them so great because I can turn on Gran Turismo 4, 5, and 6 right now and explore all the content that the game offers. You cannot do that with Gran Turismo 7. If Polyphony decided to shut down the servers right now, this game would not really be functional apart from some demo modes. This annoyed a lot of people, including myself, during the early parts to the launch of this game. Polyphony encountered a problem with an update and they had to keep the servers down for days. That meant I could not play the game at all. What makes this really annoying is the fact that this game would be perfectly fine if it wasn't online. There is one online mode, which is the sport mode, and you can share some photos in the showcase. These are both kind of side content in my opinion that aren't that major to the game unless that niche is something you are really into.
Pathetic.
Building off that, Polyphony hurt their relationship with fans even further by diving into a lot of the scummy live service and microtransaction nonsense you see in a lot of games, especially the sports games. I think the fact that this beloved series decided to give you the ability to purchase the cars with real money while having some of the least amount of content in a mainline Gran Turismo game, while also giving you the lowest payouts. This all just feels intentional to make you buy the cars, and as someone who never engages with those kinds of transactions, it made the grind feel a lot worse. Now, I'm someone who loves the grind in the previous games to earn new cars to get into different competitions. However, these games gave you a larger variety of ways to make money. You could sell the cars, there were more races and challenges that gave you money. This made the grind feel less daunting overall. Because Gran Turismo 7 only has the bare minimum amount of content, it hurts the longevity of this game. I don't care that this game might be adding content over the next few years. I don't want to wait longer than I already have for a game that I have paid for to give me the experience that was promised. Overall, Gran Turismo 7 is a fine racing game that I just wish was a lot better. I still prefer this over the vast majority of racing games, but the decisions that Polyphony made hurt this game a lot. The gameplay is still great, and it is another excellent looking PS5 game. I will give this my baseline recommendation of a 7 out of 10, but that could definitely decrease or increase over time depending on how Polyphony manages to approach this game. Thanks for watching, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.